Maya Johnson's day started like any other, but ended up completely upside down, and then somehow, way beyond what she could have ever dreamed. She missed her flight to Boston, the one that was supposed to change her life. Why? Because she stopped to help an old man struggling at the airport, not realizing he was the very reason her whole world was about to flip. So picture this. Maya sprinting through Terminal C, lungs burning, heart pounding, but the jetway door shuts right in front of her. She's frozen, watching her chance at a new life disappear with the plane. The gate agent's words, cold but polite, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we've already closed the flight." Tears well up not just from exhaustion, but because she knows what this means. The old man she helped, slumped quietly in a wheelchair behind her, is oblivious to the fact that he's the reason Maya's future just slipped through her fingers. She sacrificed everything for a stranger. What Maya doesn't know then, and couldn't have guessed as she watches that plane fade into the sky, is that this old man, William Thornton, will turn her life around in ways she never imagined. Let me back up a sec. This day began with so much promise. Maya's tiny apartment in South Chicago buzzed with morning energy. At 42, she had spent decades putting everyone else first: her kids, her mom, the seniors she cared for at the community center, where she worked for barely above minimum wage. But today was different. Today, it was about her. Her daughter, 15-year-old Zora, teased her about packing her good shoes, and Maya smiled, seeing herself in the mirror as she got ready. Her son, Dion, 22 and still figuring life out, was supposed to drive her to the airport, but was still asleep when she checked. The apartment was humble secondhand furniture, threadbare carpet but filled with love, family photos, handmade quilts, shelves of books. A life rich in spirit, if not in dollars. Finally, Dion was up, dressed, phone charged. Maya reminded him of her big trip to interview with the Gillespie Foundation, a scholarship that could change everything. This was her shot at finishing her degree in social work, doubling her income, building a future that meant no more paycheck-to-paycheck living. Dion, with unexpected sincerity, told her, "They'd be stupid not to pick you." The car smelled like fast food and pine air fresheners as they headed to O'Hare. Zora was dropped off at school with extra lunch money and reminders, and Maya felt the nervous excitement of flying for the first time in 15 years. The scholarship was fiercely competitive, only 5 awarded each year, and she was one of the final candidates. The stakes couldn't have been higher. At the airport, she breezed through check-in, watched luggage carts race across the tarmac, marveling at the dance of planes taking off and landing. She even chatted with Diane, a stylish woman who noticed Maya's fascination with the airport's behind-the-scenes magic. It felt good to connect with a stranger who saw her for more than just another passenger. But then things took a turn. Near the gate, an elderly man, William Thornton, was struggling, breathing unevenly in his wheelchair. The young gate agent was panicked, calling for medical help. Maya stepped in, found his medication, helped him take his pills, even coaxed a reluctant businessman into sharing water. She stayed by his side, even as boarding began for her flight to Boston. His grip on her hand was surprisingly strong, and she saw in his eyes the same fear she remembered from helping her own mother during a medical emergency. She told the gate agent she'd wait with him until the paramedics arrived. Minutes ticked by. The final boarding call came. Medical help was slow. Maya's heart sank as she realized the flight she had planned for was closing without her. The paramedics decided to take William to the airport medical center for observation. She made a choice that would cost her dearly, but felt right she went with him. At the medical center, William's condition improved. A missed heart medication dose had nearly put him in danger. But when Maya returned to the gate, the plane was gone, her scholarship interview seemingly lost. The gate agent sympathized, but said the next flight was full and not until the afternoon after her interview date. Maya was desperate, asking for alternatives, but everything was booked solid. That's when William Thornton's voice, steady and sincere, broke through her despair. He apologized for causing her to miss her flight and offered to make it right. Maya brushed it off, but then he said something unexpected on the airline she'd missed. And he wasn't just a wealthy passenger. He had the means to fix this. Within minutes, his personal assistant, Calvin Porter, arrived. Calvin arranged a private jet and a Blacktown car, whisking Maya through private airport entrances and security lines. The sleek white jet was nothing like she imagined, tasteful, comfortable, and staffed by a flight attendant who greeted her by name. As they soared over Pennsylvania, Maya's mind spun. William Thornton was a man of immense power and influence, owner of multiple airlines, hotels, media companies, and real estate ventures across continents. And he had been searching for someone like her. Landing in Boston, Maya was escorted to an upscale boutique hotel where William kept a suite for guests. Exhausted but overwhelmed by kindness, Maya called her kids to share the unbelievable story. The next day, Maya attended her scholarship interview, but the biggest surprise came when William himself appeared, seated at the head of the boardroom table with 2 foundation board members. It turned out William was the primary benefactor of the Gillespie Foundation and had personally vouched for Maya, asking them to consider her application despite the missed interview. William offered Maya not just a scholarship, but a job leading community initiatives for Thornton Global Industries in Chicago, with a salary that quadrupled her current income, full benefits, and tuition for her children. Maya was stunned. She felt unworthy, wondering why she, of all people. William's answer was simple but profound. He saw in her the young man he once was, willing to sacrifice opportunity for doing the right thing. His journey had started with a similar act of kindness and had led him to build a vast empire. Now he wanted to invest in her, someone with real character, someone who understood the communities he aimed to serve. Maya took time to consider, but soon accepted, knowing this opportunity could finally break the cycle of struggle that had defined her family for generations. She moved her family to a safer neighborhood, began classes to complete her degree, and dove into her new role with passion. William became a mentor, sharing his own challenges, including his battle with Parkinson's disease, and grooming Maya to eventually lead the Thornton Foundation. She was not just an employee. She was being prepared to steer a philanthropic empire that could reshape communities. But the path wasn't easy. William's family, especially his children, viewed Maya's rise with suspicion and resistance. Corporate politics and family dynamics complicated her journey. Then a reporter surfaced, digging into Thornton Global's past, specifically its controversial real estate dealings in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood during the crack epidemic, where properties were acquired, families displaced, and promises broken. Maya confronted William, learning the full story. Mistakes had been made, but efforts to make amends were underway. The Foundation's current focus on community-led initiatives was part of that atonement. Still, the timing of the expose hinted at internal sabotage, powerful interests wanting to derail the billion-dollar community development plan Maya was leading. Faced with a test of integrity, Maya chose transparency, cooperating with the press and navigating corporate treachery with grace. William, impressed and trusting her judgment, stood by her. The challenges only strengthened Maya's resolve. She grew into her role as a bridge between worlds, the privileged corridors of corporate power and the neighborhoods that had raised her. Her leadership brought real change, from workforce programs to business incubators, turning pain into progress. 1 year after that fateful airport encounter, Maya stood with William at the groundbreaking for a community-owned incubator in Englewood. She addressed the crowd, her voice steady and hopeful. "I missed a flight that I thought was my only chance at a better future. Today, I understand that sometimes what looks like missed opportunity is actually a redirection to something greater than we imagined. What was once taken will be returned, multiplied. What was once decided for this community will now be decided by it." Behind her, William Thornton watched with pride, knowing that the true legacy of his empire wasn't in the buildings or billions, but in the lives transformed by this remarkable woman. And it all started with a simple act of kindness, a moment where one person chose compassion over convenience, a moment that changed everything. So here's the question for you. Has a single act of kindness ever changed the direction of your life or someone you know? What would you have done in Maya's shoes? Share your thoughts and stories below. Let's talk about how small moments can ripple into extraordinary futures. If you want to hear more stories like this, stories about real people, real struggles, and unexpected triumphs, subscribe and join the conversation. Because sometimes missing one flight can lead to destinations we never even dreamed possible.